Dungeon crawling is one of the pillars of tabletop role-playing games, but it's also an area that can take a long time to carry out, especially if you're a solo player. Now, there are times where you want to be thorough when exploring a dungeon, but sometimes you might want to have a very quick game where you move through areas quickly, fight monsters, solve challenges, and acquire experience. This is the objective that Dungeoneering, a rules-lite tabletop game, is trying to offer with its mechanics and its structure. Dungeoneering is published by Grinning Rat Games, and it's a zine-styled game with very few rules and a lot of flexibility when it comes to adjudicating or modifying them. The system primarily uses the X in 6 chances for skill checks and combat, and characters follow mainly the main archetypes, so the fighter, the cleric, the spellcaster, and the thief. But as of the recording of this video, there are a few more supplements. There's a mega dungeon, there is one book with additional classes, and there's yet another book with even more additional rules and more classes. So now this system has seen a lot of fleshing out in the past few years. I'll make a quick demonstration with a very abstract dungeon in a moment, but first I want to go a little bit deeper into how characters are built. Player characters have their stat scores, but mainly what they use is a modifier. So for example, if your primary attribute for a fighter is a 7, the modifier is this number rounded, or rather halved, and then rounded down, so it would be a 3. And if we have a score of 4, then our modifier would be a 2. And this modifier is the X in 6 chances for succeeding in a particular skill check or movement. Monsters are a little different. They have an attack, a defense, a damage modifier based on whether it's a melee or a ranged attack, and a weapon damage value, as well as their hit points. So, when facing adversaries, or when facing monsters, the monster's attributes are really our chances to do the opposite action. So, their attack score is our chance to dodge, and their dodge score is our chance to hit. So, if they have an attack of 2, then we dodge on a 2 or less, and if they dodge with 3, or if their dodge is 3, we have 3 in 6 chances of hitting them. So as you can see, it's a very streamlined system that still allows for some tactical depth. Now, I'll make a brief pause to reset the camera, and we'll go through a quick example using a very abstract dungeon where we can just move from area to area. Now, this game also has procedures for dungeon crawling, where you keep track of torches, food and water, and rest. So every time we move from one area to the other, we will track down or take down each of our resources and act accordingly, whether it is by retreating or by consuming rations or water. But going through this first area, we have a simple combat, we have a bandit, and I have their stats here. So let's roll for initiative quickly. We score a 3, they score a 6, so they go first. They attack us, they have a score or an attack score of 2, so we dodge on a 2, and we manage to dodge it. Now we want to attack them, and they dodge on a 3. We have 3 and 6, we roll a 6, that's a failure. So combat goes like this, back and forth, until it is resolved. Now let's
Assume we have finished combat and we want to move to a new area. Let's say I want to move to from this point here to this point marked with a 12. I move my character and I obviously update the resource dice until we have something like this. And we will do this every time we move to a different area. And so you can see that the game plays very fast. If you want to play it solo, though, you may want to adjust some of the values, especially for HP for some of the monsters, since they are constructed in a way that where they assume you have a full-sized party. But it's very easy to adjudicate or to adjust stats for solo play. The book also comes with a few suggestions for what contents each of the dungeon areas have, suggestions for combat encounters, as well as puzzles. Speaking of puzzles, this area here has a puzzle mark. This is a dungeon that I designed before recording, but let's assume we want to solve this dungeon using our intellect stat. Our intellect modifier is a 2, so we have 2 in 6 chances of finding an answer. And we roll a 5, so we don't. Maybe we can rule that because we failed, one of our resources ticks down 1, like so, and we just keep moving from area to area, keeping track of how our resources start going down slowly. Another important aspect in Dungeoneering that aids to its speed and its simplicity is the fact that characters don't really have levels. In reality, what they do is collect treasure after each level of the dungeon they complete. The dungeon master is able to give out a certain amount of treasure and magic items. There are suggestions in the book for some of those magic items, which will also impact our character's stats. But you have a selection of treasures and magic items, and really the game feels like a dungeon delving score attack, where characters really are competing or trying to survive to get the largest amount of gold. So, again, this makes it a very quick and easy game to pick up and play, especially if you have things like a missing player, or if you just want to play something quickly in between, coffee breaks or lunch breaks, or just when you want to pass the time doing something that doesn't require a lot of focus. As you saw here, dungeons can really be as abstract or as thorough as you want them to be, so there's really that degree of flexibility to really play it your way. I'll leave a link in the description box below where you can pick up the game and any of its other supplements, which include more dungeon areas as well as classes. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see more content like this, be sure to follow.